Donald J. Trump, the Department of Homeland Security, California, Colorado, and the Democratic Party. Those are the real actors in this story. And what's happening right now, this is not a debate. It's not a messaging war. It's not another recycled immigration argument. This is an operational collapse. Now, for years, Democrats built their 2026 immigration strategy on one quiet assumption. If you let the system move slowly enough, time itself becomes legalization. Licenses get issued, jobs get normalized, court cases drag on and on and on, states accommodate, and by the time anyone notices, the question is no longer should this be happening, it's what are we supposed to do now? That was the playbook, and Donald J. Trump just set it on fire. Not with speeches, not with moral lectures, but by going straight for the choke points that actually make illegal immigration work in real life. Commercial driver's licenses, asylum pathways, federal funding, and state-level loopholes that quietly turn temporary presence into permanent reality. So this is why California is suddenly facing lawsuits over revoked CDLs. This is why California is staring down the loss of federal cash. This is why asylum rules are finally tightening. And this is why states that thought that they could outweight enforcement are now panicking. Now, this is not chaos. This is consequence. And once you see how these pieces lock in together, licenses, jobs, money, and timing, you're going to understand exactly why people are saying the Democrats' 2026 immigration plan didn't just lose an argument. It just got dismantled. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Appreciate you guys. When Donald J. Trump returned back to the White House, the immigration conversation didn't restart. It ended because Trump is not debating immigration. He's executing it. Now, for years, the Democratic Party built its 2026 strategy around delay, not law, not enforcement, but delay. Let cases sit, let licenses get issued, let jobs normalize, let time do the work that politics couldn't. And it worked for a long time, as long as the machinery stayed untouched. Trump didn't go after slogans. He went after the gears. Through the Department of Homeland Security, enforcement timeline shortened, federal pressure increased, and suddenly states like California and Colorado, they were forced to confront a reality that they had postponed for years. Their systems were quietly turning temporary presence into permanent status. This is the core shift here. Trump replaced waiting with consequence, and once delays stop working, the entire 2026 Democratic playbook collapses. Now, everything starts with a distinction that the Democratic Party needed voters to blur. Unlawful presence versus unlawful entry. Now, unlawful presence is typically a civil immigration violation. It's paperwork, hearings, years of delays. That's where Democrats wanted the debate to live. But unlawful entry is totally different. This thing has teeth. It's criminal under federal law in defined circumstances. And that distinction right there, that determines how fast the federal government can act. It determines how aggressively the Department of Homeland Security can move and whether consequences happen now or years later. Now, under Donald J. Trump, that line is no longer blurred. The law is back in the foreground, not as a moral argument, but as an operational one. And so once illegal entry is treated as a boundary violation instead of a clerical error, the entire delay-based strategy collapses. This is why enforcement suddenly feels faster, because it is. Now, I want to pause just for a second because this exact same pattern that we're looking at right here shows up somewhere else that people don't want to talk about. Every time that the Federal Reserve claims it's fixing the economy, something else breaks. They raise rates, stall growth, they cut rates, inflation eats your savings alive. They're doing one of many different things. Here's a real question though. Do you still trust the same people who caused the mess to magically solve it? This is why I partnered with Noble Gold Investments, because while Washington experiments with your money, Noble Gold helps Americans protect what they've already earned. They make it very simple to hold physical gold and silver inside of an IRA or a 401k, assets that have survived every failed policy in history. And so when people see how straightforward it actually is, they always say the same thing. Yeah, that makes sense. And this is why thousands of people, they're already calling the phone number at the bottom of your screen right here, 877-646-5347, or they're visiting RonYatesGold.com to get their free wealth protection kit, because just like immigration enforcement, the people in charge keep running out of answers. But you don't have to wait for the fallout. You just have to take control while you still can. Phone number right down below. Now, under Donald J. Trump, the Department of Homeland Security just stopped sending mixed signals. That's what they did. Now, for years, the expectation was rather simple. Arrive, file paperwork, wait it out, work quietly, and let time become protection. That expectation is now gone. DHS enforcement tempo increased, deportations accelerated, self-deportation became a real calculation again, not a punchline. Employers were no longer insulated by bureaucratic fog, and state governments could no longer assume the federal government would just look the other way while local systems absorbed illegal labor into normal economic life. Here is the key point here. Politics don't run on spreadsheets. Politics run on expectations. So when migrants, employers, and states believe that enforcement is inconsistent, delay becomes strategy. When enforcement becomes predictable, behavior changes real fast. You see, Trump didn't need perfection. He needed credibility. And once DHS signaled that the old wait-and-see model no longer worked, the incentives flipped almost overnight. Now, if you really want to understand why commercial driver's licenses became ground zero, look no further than what CDLs represent: jobs, mobility, and permanence. So once someone can legally drive commercially, they're no longer temporary, they're embedded. This is why California matters so much in this story here. Now, for years, California's licensing practices functioned as quiet normalization. Work authorization came first, then legal status questions came after, if ever. That particular model depended entirely on time. Trump shattered it by targeting the license itself. So when CDLs are revoked early, the embedding process stops cold. No job, no leverage, no assumption of permanence. This is not about paperwork cruelty. This is about interpreting the middle stage Democrats relied on. Trump didn't wait until millions were politically untouchable. He hit the choke point before permanence set in. That is why lawsuits exploded. Because when the system changes suddenly, friction is guaranteed. What's happening in California right now isn't disorder, it's physics. When federal enforcement finally collides with years of state-level accommodation, lawsuits are inevitable. Immigrant truckers suing over revoked CDLs, they're not an anomaly. They're the visible stress fracture in a system that Democrats depended on staying quiet. Now, for years, California issued licenses, employers hired, and courts moved slowly. That delay created expectations. People built lives around assumption that nothing would change quickly. But under Donald J. Trump, the Department of Homeland Security stopped honoring those assumptions. So when the middle stages of normalization get disrupted, the fight doesn't happen at the border. It happens in the courtrooms. These lawsuits are not proof that the policy failed. They're proof that the policy is working. Because once embedding is interrupted early, the conflict surfaces immediately instead of years later, when it becomes politically untouchable. And so if California shows how licensing creates permanence, Colorado shows how federal money enforces discipline. So when Colorado faced the risk of losing federal funding over illegal commercial driver's licenses, the message was unmistakable. Accommodation has a price tag. This is where states' panic stops being rhetoric. Federal funding isn't symbolic. It pays for infrastructure, enforcement, and public services. Now, under Donald J. Trump, that funding is leverage, and leverage works. The assumption that Washington would fund systems that quietly undermine federal law, that's gone. Now, for years, Democrats counted on separation. Federal law over here, state workarounds over there. Trump collapsed that separation altogether. Once money's on the line, states can't pretend that licensing decisions are harmless acts of compassion. Colorado learned what California is learning right now. When consequences arrive early, delay stops being a strategy. So as licenses and funding grab headlines, Asylum is right where the timeline really snaps shut. See, under President Donald J. Trump, the Department of Homeland Security just restored public health authority as an enforcement tool, not as a talking point, but as a gate. And that matters because Asylum claims they were one of the longest delay mechanisms in the democratic system. File, wait, work, appeal, repeat. Years pass, permanence sets in. Tightening Asylum. Especially when public health is implicated, it doesn't argue morality. It closes timing loopholes. It shortens the runway. And once that runway disappears, the assumption that everyone can just simply stay while cases crawl forward completely collapses. This isn't about cruelty versus compassion. This is about predictability. When Asylum becomes faster and firmer, behavior changes upstream. Fewer filings, fewer work authorizations, fewer years to embed. That is why this move pairs perfectly with license revocations and funding pressure. It seals the exits that Democrats depended on. If we strip away the speeches, and the strategy was simple. The Democratic Party normalized first and then promised reform later. Licenses came early, jobs followed, leases, schools, and court delays, they filled the middle. Legal status was always next. Time was the tool. That is why California mattered. This is why states like Colorado mattered. They were the shock absorbers, quietly converting temporary presence into permanent reality while Washington spoke in abstractions. Donald J. Trump flipped that sequence. He attacked the middle first: licenses before status, funding before rhetoric, asylum before normalization. So when the middle collapses, the entire strategy fails. You can't legalize later what never embeds now. And once voters see that the chain has broken in real time, the old argument loses its force. So here's the part that most people completely miss. Enforcement's not a moment, it's a campaign, and campaigns require money. And this plays out toward 2026. The financial reality matters. Look, the Democratic National Committee is stretched, limited cash on hand, real debt, and donors who prefer cautious messaging over prolonged conflict. The Republican National Committee, by contrast, has the resources to sustain pressure month after month. Now, that data comes straight from the Federal Election Committee. So why does this matter? I'll tell you why it matters. Because immigration rewards persistence. It's not won with a viral clip or some weekend protest. It is won by enforcing timelines, backing states into compliance, and then staying the course when lawsuits arrive. Donald J. Trump understands that. Democrats counted on outrage cycles, but Trump built a system that actually runs even when the cameras move. And so this is where it stops being abstract, because when systems are mismanaged, the bill doesn't land on politicians, it lands on regular people. I mean, look, I heard from a man who recently assumed an extra $90 a month coming out of his paycheck was just normal. It wasn't normal, guys. An extra $90 a month was because he had a bad Medicare plan. By the end of the year, that was over $1,000 gone quietly. There was no warning, there was no headline, just money leaking out of his bank account month after month after month because nobody ever checked the fine print. Well, this is exactly why I partner with Chapter. Chapter does things completely differently. They look at your Medicare coverage line by line for free, and they show you where your money is being drained so that you don't need to continue losing in the first place. Now, most people, they don't even realize how common it is until someone actually checks for them. So this is why so many people are calling the phone number at the bottom of your screen right here, 909-563-8279, or they're clicking the link in the description down below this video, going to askchapter.org/Ron, because just like with government policy, the damage is not often loud. In fact, it's usually slow and it's quiet. And by the time you notice, the money's already gone. So it's better to catch it now before another year slips away, and you know how that goes. Crime trends are complicated. Analysts know it, academics know it, but voters don't vote on caveats. They vote on intuition. So when crime declines, even for multiple reasons, the public looks for alignment. And right now, Donald J. Trump owns the enforcement lane. Homicide dropped sharply in 2025. No serious analyst claims immigration enforcement alone caused it, but politics don't reward footnotes. It rewards narratives that feel consistent with lived experience. Trump talks order. He talks boundaries. He talks borders and consequences. And voters easily connect that to stability. The Democratic Party is pretty much stuck defending systems that look permissive at a moment when the public wants firmness. That's a trap, because even if Democrats argue compassion, voters hear tolerance. And in an election cycle defined by pressure on housing, wages, and public order, intuition beats explanation every time. This is where the vice tightens. As 2026 approaches, the Democratic Party is pretty much boxed into three different options, and none of them are clean. Option one, pivot toward enforcement. That means basically conceding that Trump was right about boundaries, which fractures the activist base and depresses turnout. Option two, they can double down on resistance. They can fight licenses, fight asylum tightening, fight funding leverage, and risk alienating a broader electorate that increasingly wants consequences, not explanations. And then, of course, they have option three, attempt balanced reform that pairs legal pathways with visible enforcement. This is the hardest path for Democrats. It requires trust, and it takes time that Democrats, frankly, don't have. So here's the problem. Donald J. Trump already moved the terrain. The debate isn't theoretical anymore. Licenses are being pulled. Money is on the line. Timelines are shortening. And so when the ground shifts under your feet, you don't get to choose ideal options. You choose damage control. And every choice Democrats make now carries visible political cost. So this moment right here, it feels different because it is. Immigration arguments are not new. but enforcement of boundary conditions is. Now, for years, strategies built on ambiguity survived because no one enforced the limits. Donald J. Trump didn't win a debate. He changed the incentives. Licenses matter now. Funding matters now. Asylum timelines matter now. States like California and Colorado, they are discovering that delay no longer protects them. Enforcement laws, lawsuits aren't signs of collapse. They're signs of impact. So when consequences arrive early, systems reveal what they were built to hide. This is why jobs, licenses, money, and politics are colliding all at once. And this, my friends, is exactly why the Democrats' 2026 immigration plan didn't just lose momentum. It just lost its foundation. Political strategies built on waiting, struggling, while someone finally decides to enforce the boundary. Oh, that time and that game is over, my friends. We'll see you next time.